Hi guys, welcome back. It's UK here. Happy Halloween, blessed Samhain, however you do, whatever you do today rather. I hope it's a good one. Today, because it is Halloween, I shall be reviewing one of my favourite RPGs, All Flesh Must Be Eaten. Which is published by Eden Studios, who also do, or did rather, the old Buffy RPG, amongst a couple others. All Flesh Must Be Eaten is a zombie horror survival game. It's a very simple system. It is pretty much basically you pick, the GM decides what sort of game they want, which limits the players to 3 options. You have norms, which are you and I, the people who die in zombie apocalypses. You have survivors, who are the people from the movies who tend to survive, or at least a good way through the film, survive a zombie apocalypse. Or you have inspired, who are characters like psychics, priests, witches, who have certain powers of an unusual nature, depending on what sort of game you want. Everybody has to be, you either have to be a normal survivor, and then the inspired can be, added in how you want. It's the number of points characters get to spend, players get to spend to build their characters, and pretty much they can come up with any concept they like. You then have points to spend on skills. You've then got traits, good and bad, usual sort of fare, and the system is very, very simple. It is simply 2 dice plus a stat plus a skill, or double a skill or stat, depending on the difficulty or whether or not you have a skill. The system itself is actually somewhat tongue-in-cheek, which is, I think, even if you like your serious sort of horror RPGs, there's something about how this game does it which is just makes it so much fun. If you're looking for something that is completely serious, you probably won't find it in this, but I can't recommend a better system for running zombie horror games. There is just to give you a slight example of what I mean by not quite so serious tongue-in-cheek. There is a GM screen you can buy for this game, which comes with a scenario called the Coffee Break of the Living Dead, which you can already pretty much guess the nature from that. And it's set in one of those American-style buildings where you have a different company on each floor. And the characters basically have gone to, if I remember correctly, it's a bank that's on like the middle floor. And the zombie apocalypse kicks off. Then you have a few bits beforehand, and then you get this. And there's zombies on the ground floor and outside. You can't get out that way. And slowly the zombies begin to make their way up the building. And what do? You've got to survive. In fact, I've run this particular scenario several times, and I've only ever had somebody survive it once. And in fact, in one game, I had a player who came down to be the last character in the game, who actually his character committed suicide rather than be either stuck there or devoured by the dead. So it was quite a good game. But another example, in one of these games, one of the characters got himself locked, or not locked, but hid in the janitor's closet on one of the floors, and ended up having to defend himself with a mop. And he's one of these players who's really jammy with his dice rolls anyway, but he actually managed to lop, by swinging this mop, the granny zombie's head off and send it flying down the corridor. You can do that weird sort of things like that. It's somewhat bizarre. What else can I give? Just made me chuckle remembering that. You have the combat system is simple. You've got rules for fear. You've got a very simple equipment guide, covers everything you're going to need. Vehicles and armour, you have that. Depending on the sort of game you've got, vehicles range from bicycles through to helicopters and APCs. Then you start getting to the rather good bit of the book, I think, which is the kind of like a zombiology, I suppose, or zombology, would that be the word? Where you have your default Romero-style zombie. But maybe that's not what you want. Maybe you want a remake of the Day of the Dead running zombies. Well, you can do that from here. Maybe you want something that's very, very different. Maybe lopping their heads off doesn't help. Maybe you've actually got to dismember them or burn them or what have you. You can do that. It gives you a complete set of rules for building a zombie. And it could be anything from they're dead, so there's no strength to them, up to the point with they are dead, so they've got no feel of pain, so their strength is immense. They can jump, they can bury, maybe they can sense the living, so even hiding in a cupboard isn't going to help you. Maybe they're more like vampires, they want blood rather than brains, and it gives you a set of rules to balance all that out. Most cool of all is you have a series of zombie worlds in here, which I shall just go through with you now. You have Rise of the Walking Dead, which I have run many times, which is your basic Romero style world. The dead are rising. You know how to deal with zombies. It does have some odd stuff, like it allows animals in this one to become zombified, and you have zombie cows and zombie dogs. The next option is one called Fade to Black, where the zombie virus is actually a sexually transmitted disease. People that contract it slowly fade and then stand up as zombies. That one's quite an interesting one. It doesn't actually mean you've got a zombie apocalypse, but you have a world where zombies are a part of it. You have one where the Earth passes through the tail of a comet, and it turns the comet is actually part of a planet that broke up a long time ago because of this ancient evil, and now bits of it are spreading to the Earth, and zombies are coming down that way. You have one where genetically modified chemicals for crops has created sort of like plant zombies, where the plants reanimate the dead. They're all wrapped up with vines and stuff. I've run that one, that's quite a cool one. You've got one where aliens have created zombies. Those I can imagine. You've got a World War II zombies game. You've got after the nuclear apocalypse zombies. You've got mutant zombies. And a rather cool one, which is Dead at 1000, which is the no, it's gone out of my head. What do we call it? We had the Y2K thing, didn't we? The computers are going to crash. It's going to be the end of the world. Well, this is the year is 999 AD, and everyone's panicking that when it hits the year 1000, something's going to go wrong, and it does, because suddenly zombies get up. You have like a Middle Ages zombie apocalypse, and so on. So you kind of get the impression, as I say, it's somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but there's some rather cool ideas. There are a host of other books you can get for it. The only one of which I own is this one, and I do recommend this. It's called One of the Living, and it's basically a player's guide. It gives you a load more equipment, it gives you some more archetypes for the sort of characters you can play, ideas for how you protect like the house that you're in, or why you wouldn't necessarily want to stay in a hospital or a prison or something like that. It gives the GM some ideas of how, if you're going to be realistic with your zombies, how weather and time and how you will affect them, from a fresh corpse all the way up to the point where they just decay, and that's, do they remain as sort of skeletons, or at a certain point do zombies just die, and various things like that. It's a really, really good book. Really recommend it. Also includes, I can't not mention this, it also includes rules for, as one of the weapons, I can't think the name of the film it was in, but you can use a lawnmower, a strimmer sort of thing, to take out zombies. This is, to my mind, is one of the better books that they've done. All the other ones, there's a couple ones which are called, I think they're called Worlds of the Dead, and they are ideas for sort of, as I mentioned in the rulebook, these ideas, the World War II one or the zombie plant ones, gives you a whole host of them. And there's other books which give you a host of what zombies are like in different cultures. The idea of Aztec zombies, or mummies, or whatever. The other ones tend to be setting books. There's one called A Fistful of Zombies, which is your Wild West one. You've got The Way of the Zombie, which is a martial arts Eastern Europe, Oriental Far East style one. Oddly, there's also I can't remember the name of it, but there's one that is basically a WWE wrestling style world where wrestlers fight or wrestle zombies in the arena, and very, very bizarre. I've never picked up any of those because they've never been areas that I wanted to cover. I've always played either Romero style, or lately our games have taken more the Zombieland style, and taken the fun element of the game in with it. But if you are looking for something that, while may not necessarily make for a great campaign, because I've never yet worked out how to do a zombie apocalypse campaign, you know, if all these people are dead, where are you getting replacement characters from, things like that. But if you're looking for the sort of game that is great as a one-off, you know, to drag out at Halloween or every so often, or even if you just want something you can roll characters up in 5 minutes and just get playing because you know the system, this is it. I mean, you don't have to do things like Romero's World or Zombieland. The first time I ever encountered this particular system was many years ago, and a friend ran a game based on Resident Evil, the computer game. To the point that he'd even come up with a set of rules for there being, if I remember correctly from the original game, I was more of a Silent Hill man myself. You had, I think it was typewriters where you could save the game. Well, you had things like that, and if you saved your character, when your character, you made a note of who you were at the time or what you were at the time, and if your character died, you could come back because you've had a save point. But after that, unless you found another save point, your character was dead if you ever got found. And you could only save one person on a save point at a time, and that was really, really fun. It was a really great game. But yes, I fully recommend checking this one out if you don't know it already. That's my Halloween game review for the day. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope it will inspire you to possibly even have a look at that game and pick one up. Anyway, thank you for watching, take care, and good game.